Welcome everybody to another episode of Trading Psychology. We have a very special guest on on the show today. Um, no other than Abigail, who is a female trader. So this isn't this industry, this trading industry isn't just dominated by male. We have some dope female traders in this industry. So you be a male or female and how success in trading. Um, so Abigail, how you doing?
I'm good, Kosky. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. You know, this is a special month. This is the birthday month, so I'm loving this month.
Happy birthday.
Soon, birthday coming soon. But I'm celebrating this entire month. So
No other way to do it.
I was right. Hey, COVID hit us on my birthday last year, so I couldn't celebrate.
Wow. So you got to make up then.
Yeah, so I have to celebrate the entire month. So getting things started, Abigail, we want to know, man, what's your history? How do you get how you got into trading? We want to know your journey.
So I have experience in had some work experience in the banking and finance industry. So the concept of foreign exchange was a familiar one to me. I was exposed to stocks and bonds, different investment vehicles, etc.
Hmm.
But on a retail level, I was introduced to Forex in 2016 by one of my former college roommates. She
So,
had recently joined the company,
hmm.
was learning how to trade, and she was sharing her profits via social media.
Okay.
Now, they weren't very big profits, but what I had noticed was she was consistent.
That's a key word right there.
Correct. So after a few conversations, skepticism, what are you doing? How are you doing it? After a few conversations, I also had joined that company, and that was my entrance into the retail trading industry.
Okay.
Since then, it has been a journey.
Hmm.
It has had ups and downs, and at the point in my trading career where I embrace every part of it, right? So that's where I am. We're now in 2021, and I'm still trading.
Wow, wow. It. I mean, you start off early. I wish I did start off too. It was it 2006. You said you started
No, 2016.
2016. Okay. All right.
No, no.
All right. So same time as me then.
Hmm.
You guys don't know. Obviously, don't know who introduced me to forex uh, knowledge. So we have a history. I could call her family, man. She is just like a big sister to me. She's family, but this is the one who introduced me into to um to forex. So so it started for me understanding. I just kind of wanted to gain knowledge, and over the years it just continued to develop and grow. So one of the things you said, but you saw consistency. So I realized that this is a major barrier for a lot of traders. Um, they because I have a lot of inboxes in my IG because I post I post a lot of my I was kind of step away from IG, took a little break. And when I'm on IG, I'm always posting, 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 posting. So uh,
Hmm.
the majority of questions I receive from them is how do I um, be consistent in trading? So we want to know, Abby, how do me as a trader, me start at the beginning, how do I become consistent in my trading career?
That's a loaded question. Um, and because there are a few aspects of trading, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, so for me, one of the key starting points is about defining your expectations.
Mm,
Unfortunately, this is not usually one of the first steps that many people want to flesh out,
uh-huh.
but it should be noticed that it's also a continuous part of the process as a trader.
Mhm.
So right out of the gate, most people start, I expect to make money because I want to make money. And they just jump right in,
Yeah.
expecting in most instances that everything just kind of falls in their lap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but oftentimes I find in my conversations with people, and I even have over the years changed the way I communicate forex trading with people, right? So I have this conversation about what is your expectation, because there's something that's expected of you.
Mm-hmm.
We already know you want to make money. That's what you expect from the market. But what is your expectation of yourself to make that a reality?
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that kind of sparks that question. Do you just want to make money, or do you want to consistently make money?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to learn to trade for yourself? Do you want to just take signals? There's so many different ways to analyze the market and trade. Do you want to trade using some software? Do you want indicators, technical analysis, fundamental? So it's a lot that goes into defining that expectation. Some of it you may not know from day one, but it's important to continue to develop what that expectation is. Um, and once you have that expectation, now you get into the nitty gritty in terms of actually defining, how do I tackle this trading journey, right? How do I start? How do I continue? And one thing that I've seen is, well, let me step back for a bit. Over the last few years, I've been doing a lot of personal development, focusing on myself and consciously working on the best version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started trading, one of the most obvious insights that I saw was how personal habits and behavior influence our trading habits and behavior. I'm sure you can agree agree with that, right?
Definitely, definitely.
So one thing that I noticed was the importance of focusing on discipline as opposed to just motivation. And that's a key aspect to me in terms of becoming a consistent trader, because after you've already learned what there is to know, there are some times when our emotions influence our motivation. And that's where, to maintain that consistency, we really need that discipline to
Mm-hmm.
kick in on any given day.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Um, you talk about like the ups and downs, like with your journey. Most people, when they see us as a trader, they see people on IG posting these huge amount of um, of income, but they don't know that their personal journey, what they went through, though, their personal development and working on the craft. So I think that that too has to be one of your expectation is, man, you have to work on your craft. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in any field industry, a doctor, wherever you're a basketball player, wherever sports you play, it's those years of you developing that skill of becoming that better version in that skill set. And some, most beginners, they want to jump in and want to have that, that quick mindset, that quick, the microwave mindset.
Mm-hmm.
They never go through the process of you consistently develop that skill set, where you become, a consistent winner and consistently make money in the market. And you have to, and during that journey, you have to stay on your lane. You know, once you put that work ethic in, um, put that work ethic in, and not, oh, if you see someone accomplishment. And yes, you can accomplishment too, but it all comes back with your work ethic. Are you doing the consistent stuff? Are you focused on the consistent behavior or getting up at a certain time? You don't know who all are getting up. you know,
Absolutely.
early. You don't know what time these profitable traders. So you have to. I realized with me personally, when I started having a schedule, this is my set time of getting up. I get up at 3:30. I'm at my desk. Sorry, I'm awake at 3 a.m. or 3:30 a.m. and I'm at my desk at 4 a.m. And this is my trading window from morning until noon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm normally finished before them. I'm normally finished trading in an hour, and I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already done for the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But until I continue, it it became like, automatic for me. You know, it was hard at first. Do I need to really need to get up this early? Yes, you need to get up early if you want to see, the profits with, these your mentors or other people. You need to get your butt up and work. Have a strict schedule. If you need to study, well, of course, I've done hours of studying, but
Mm-hmm.
this is when I started to grow. If you want to have, you want to transition them from just being a trader and being transitioning to be a consistent winning as a pro trader. This is what you need to do. These are the steps. And so many traders bypass that process, bypass what it takes to be consistent, and they just quit. Think about it. When you go to college, right? And you're going after that particular field of job that you're interested in, how long does it take you? Almost what, 4 years or even longer, depending on which field you are.
Exactly. And what you're mentioning is one of my key points too, right? So one thing that I always tell people is do not underestimate the importance of investing in yourself and your development as a trader.
That's right.
Firstly, you have to take it serious.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna be a continuous learner. You don't want to close your mind to learning. Never stop learning and always continue to work on perfecting your craft. And I always tell people approach it like a professional athlete. A lot of people look at the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, all these professional athletes, and they idolize them. But sometimes they don't apply their work ethic. It's the sweat equity, right?
Yep.
They get up in the morning, they're disciplined, they're committed, they're determined, and they go after it with relentless effort.
All right.
And when you continue to operate in that helps to form a habit. So you set a schedule, you have a plan, you execute your plan, come back and you review your results. Like these are the things that are a part of what your little arsenal will be. And as a trader, these are the things that we should focus on as we go forward. So another thing that you mentioned just now that I find very, very important, and I always would give this as advice to new traders, is make a conscious decision to block out all of the noise and take some time to focus. And by noise, I mean, like you said, all the profits that you're seeing flying around on social media, all the chats that you may be in, and like you just have to get laser focused, put on your blinders, and just decide that for this particular period of time, I'm going all in.
That's right.
And when you do that, you know, you will see your results. You will see things on the charts that you may not have seen because we all know you sit in the front of a chart with a certain mindset
Mhm.
and certain things you will see that you may never have seen before that you have been looking at this very same chart. So it's important also for new traders to know that this is not a race. It's your own journey. It's not who can get there faster. It's not who can do it better. It's the forex industry is a very vast industry and there's money out there for everybody. Now, do you want to just invest wildly and free, or do you want to be the more intelligent, disciplined investor, one who exercise not only intelligence or applied knowledge, but also emotional intelligence, because we know that's important as well. So I always tell people your journey is your own, and it's okay that your journey may be different from someone else's.
That's right.
Koski is time to get up, maybe to trade in the London session, so he's at his desk by 3:30. Some other person, because of the way their life is set up, their trading time may be in an Asian session or in the New York session.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, that's a part of defining what is my approach to the market as a trader. And sometimes that gets blurred by all of the noise, especially over the last few years when the forex industry has gotten so much attention and it's being materialized in
Mhm.
mainstream media to a very large extent. But you have to stay focused, keep your eyes on the prize, and realize that there is a certain amount of sweat equity that you have to put in. Because when you decide that you want to trade for yourself and nobody's trading for you, you're going to do this yourself. The onus is on you to continue to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, man. Definitely. You have to stay in your own lane. Um, One of the things in my early career was, that that fear of missing out on money, you know. I would just
Listen.
I see people. That's what I mean by saying. I would see people post something. I say, let me get in this. The experience
Mm-hmm.
is bullish. It's bullish.
Mm-hmm.
It's bullish.
Trigger fingers.
And I would take a loss after loss after loss. One, I didn't put in the work to strategize where I needed to place my buy or sell. I just jumped in. It was laziness, because I
Mm-hmm.
saw someone post, you need to buy. You look how much profits I get. You don't know what that person done. If they close out and you just jumping in way too late.
Mm-hmm.
You only were
Mm-hmm.
in the areas of supply and demand. So why do you need to bring it? Why are you in the middle of it? You don't know what's going to happen. So that's how I lost a lot of money back then. And until I changed that, my concept, of understanding. So what if I lost? If I'm if I didn't got an opportunity to make money, then there's the thing about forex. You can make money in any session. There's no rush.
Exactly.
Whether it's today,
Exactly.
tomorrow, next week, or you will skip this month and go back at it the next month. There's always an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to make money in this industry, and you have to have that mindset, and control over yourself. So another question, Abby, give me some of your best tips of handling emotions.
Listen, full disclosure. So the emotional side of my journey was the most difficult side for me.
Hmm.
I was living in my feelings. Before I made that choice to block out the noise, I just had a lot of visual stimulation that related to the forex industry. So I was oftentimes on that emotional roller coaster, and it was all kind of emotions: fear of missing out, which we just call FOMO for short, the greed, the euphoria when you actually win, the anger, the revenge. But
Hmm.
then I also realized I had a need to win because my mindset was so focused on the money now. And then I also had the need to be right. That was a big one for me as emotions because as a professional accountant, my mind was already trained. There's a certain way that numbers flow. So when you have a debit, you have a corresponding credit. And at the end of the day, your financials are supposed to be in balance. So the need to be right was one of the hardest emotional impacts that I had to manage in my journey. So basically, the full range of emotions, you name it, I've been there and I've done that. But there are some things that help me, and I would say one of them is the fact that the market is not going anywhere.
Hmm.
You can miss an opportunity now or in this particular session, but from experience in the market and actually analyzing and developing and maturing as a trader, I realized that that move in one session is basically the setup for another one later on or tomorrow in another session. And so that specifically targeted that fear of missing out for me. And that helped me to avoid that reactive, just that trigger finger, I call it. Like, they in it, they making money. I need to jump in this now. And as soon as you jump in, the market turn around because that leg of the move is over. So that's one thing that helped me. Another thing that helped me was I had to embrace that probability mindset instead of just being pure black and white. Like, I had to change my mindset of my bias is a buy and a buy is all I expect. I had to realize that I don't own the market, and therefore I should realize that despite how much I believe how perfect my analysis may be, there's a probability that the trade may not go in my favor. And that was a key turning point to me. When I started to embrace that mindset, then that would lead me to something else that I had to do, and that was to define my risk and then respect it. So clearly defining the amount of risk that I was taking per trade, I actually started to create worst case scenarios. And this is what helped me to work on my mindset. Like I said, I was kind of the accounting framework. It's black or it's white. It's not all of the shade of gray and maybe and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But once I spend the time and I said, okay, upfront, you're going to now manage the way you enter and exit the market. And I identified the amount of risk per trade that I was willing to take. I created the worst case scenario. Worst case, it does not go in your favor. You stand to lose X amount of dollars. Best case goes in your favor. You can start to begin to be in profit, and then based on my trading plan, you decide how much of your profit you take off of the table when. So that was a very, very key aspect in terms of how I had to deal with my emotions
Hmm.
so that I can be prepared for either outcome and I don't get so angry that I lost or just jump back in trying to revenge trade. Like managing that was key for me
Right.
because emotions will have you, I mean, throwing your computer at the wall.
So, Abby, what would be your advice for one, eliminated bad habits, and also how do you build good trading habits?
It's the mindset for me, Koski.
Hmm.
It's the mindset. We spoke about a few of the a few points earlier in terms of defining your expectations and having discipline, but also being aware that there's more to trading that may meet the eye. And I think this is key for new traders when they develop working on developing new habits. There's a learning component, and we all know that applied knowledge is power.
Yeah.
But there's also the psychological and emotional component
Hmm.
that we must learn to manage. And we must put some framework in place that will help us manage that. And that's where the personal element comes in because, like you mentioned earlier, we may look at the success of others as traders, but we don't necessarily know how they manage their emotions behind that trade that we see the results of, right?
Yeah.
So, being able to put a framework in place for ourselves to help us manage our emotions. The next thing that I would say is to also be aware of the external factors in life, like life happens. And it's one of the quickest lessons that I personally learned was when life happens and you're going through certain things in life, you may not be at your best in the front of the chart. And this is a part of where I also had to address my fear of missing out because mentally I may not have been in the best place to sit and analyze and feel confident in entering and exiting the market. And I had to make a decision that, you know what, until I'm mentally back in the game, I'm going to stay away from the charts because I found myself being so emotionally attached to my losses
Yeah.
that I began to question myself as a trader. So that's a key part of advice to somebody, that there's more to trading that what meets the eye in terms of just looking at a chart and looking at a candlestick and determining whether you want to buy or sell. The other thing, and I know I'm going to sound like a broken record when I say this because whenever you talk to successful traders, there are some things that you're just going to hear no matter what. And that is the importance of a trading plan.
Yeah.
Establish one point blank, period. Growing up, one of my favorite quotes was, "He who fails to plan plans to fail." And when I took on trading, that piece of advice was so important. I would put it in bold, italics, underline, highlight it. But your trading plan, simply put, to any new trader, basically takes into account the same concept that we learn in English, 5W, how. The who, the when, the why, the what, the where, and how. So we know we want to enter the market, but
Hmm.
having this particular trading plan helps us to detail how we're going to do that. And in my opinion, the more detailed your plan is, the more helpful it is as a trader because you're going to define the parameters of the times that you trade, the
Hmm.
risk that you're going to put on that trade, and respect, trade identification, trade execution, trade completion. When I itemize these things in my plan, it helps me to stay focused because the market is going to be moving,
Yeah.
and there's a certain analysis that we can do, and to put ourselves in a position to be prepared for the market. But how we react to that, governed by a plan, is a benefit to the trader. So whether you win or learn, because I hate to use the word lose, at least at the end of the day, you know that you followed the rules
Mm.
and managed your trading experience. And the beauty that I find in it is these rules are not set in stone forever. You can tweak them as you grow and develop as a trader. You can tweak them, you may change them, certain things you may want to drop from your plan, certain things you may want to add in. So it's a living document, right? But it's an excellent framework. I personally find that I am better prepared for my trading week when I review and I mark my charts on the weekend. So as small as that may seem, that's in my trading plan
Yeah.
because that's what helps me become more organized and prepared. And I trade the sessions based on setups that I see, pairs that I identify, and also my schedule. And sometimes that may fluctuate. So at times I may be hard in the London market. And then based on what's going on, I may just decide, okay, I'm going to catch the Asian market
Yeah.
this week or whatever the case is. But you have the flexibility to do that. And your trade plan helps that, right? The next thing that I'll also sound like a broken record is saying is get in the practice of reviewing your performance, i.e., a trading journal. Also, full disclosure, listen to me. This is one thing that I was very, very negligent with in the beginning, and I didn't take it serious at all. And really, if you think about it, people in the average job market, they dread performance appraisals, right? Because it makes you do that introspection of yourself and then compare it to what the ideal should be or what outcome was expected. But this is probably one of the most beneficial tools that I use as a trader. And what I used to do in the past was if I want to trade, I would probably write down the pair. I may put a W if I won. If I was feeling good, I may put the number of pips that I won, 200 pips, 100 pips, 50 pips, and the amount of money that that was equivalent to.
Hmm.
But what I was doing was if I took a loss, I probably wasn't recording anything because I was angry. I was mad. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't even want to look at it. I didn't go back to look at the chart. I was emotional.
Wow.
So actually disciplining myself that whether you win or you have to learn from this experience, record. And now my journal has developed so much because it now encompasses so many more details. It looks at what goes on before I take the trade, what's happening during the trade, what's happening after the trade. Like it's just a more comprehensive document. And sometimes talking myself through trades, I begin to say, well, hold on. Something right there sounds a little emotional.
Yeah.
It really makes you do an introspection. So that's one key thing. The next key thing, and you know me with this, so I know you will know this is full disclosure. I hated back testing. I hated it. I hated it, and it was primarily because I just didn't like to look back. I mean, if I already lost, why do I want to uncover those feelings of anger and depression when I've already lost? Let's just move on.
Yeah.
But that's a critical thing that I would give as an advice is never be afraid to go back and review that part of your performance because sometimes it's in the back testing when the light bulbs go off.
Hmm.
And that's something that I have recently, within the last year or so, been more inclined to do is to pair that back testing with the actual review of my performance and my trading journal. And then sometimes it actually led to me making some changes in my trading plan. So, it's been a benefit to me. And then you asked me for advice, right? The next thing was just being aware that cycle. the psychology of trading and the emotional impact of trading is real.
Yeah.
And we may hear that at the beginning, because I know that's something that I heard at the beginning of my retail trading career. It's trading is 10% of the analysis and 90% of the psychology. And it's like, really? 90% psychology? Okay. So how hard can it possibly be until you actually sitting behind that computer screen and you have to make the decision? Sometimes you're too impulsive. Sometimes you're too afraid to take the move. Sometimes you babysit the trade, so you're in your emotions as the market moves around. So the emotional impact is a very real one that I would also tell people. Just be aware that it exists and have some plan in place to help to manage your emotions.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Um, Even how you talked about the trading plan, I go over my before I ever hit a buy or sell at my desk. I'm reviewing my trading plan to make sure I don't miss a beat or go offshore. So every trade, every day, I look over my trading plan. This is the agenda for the day, and it assure me, to make sure I'm aligned on what I want to accomplish for that day. Um, so yeah, and I know I used to be on you with the back there. Said, I did,
Listen, I
I
hated
did,
it.
I
I remember
did.
the first time I told you that I don't really do the back testing thing. You were like, blasphemy. No. And I'm like, but I just can't sit there and recount, especially because most times when I mark my charts, I leave my analysis up. So
Mhm.
when I already see price blowing past my zone or something like that, that does something to me. But what I started to do when I backtest is hide my personal drawings and, just look at it with a fresh set of eyes. And that's how I've been able to at least endure
Yeah,
backtesting.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. Back testing had a lot of ha moments. Back.
Hindsight 2020, right?
Yeah, and even you mentioned about journal. Like my journal, I need to actually order a new journal now because I'm always writing in my journal. How my journal looks, it looks, um, I'll have, you know, I love the entry, the date, the time, whatever, and also I'll have
Mhm.
my emotions and feelings entering the trade. How would I feel uh,
Mhm.
for the trade? How would I feel after the trade?
Mhm.
How did I execute the trade? How was my trade management? Um,
Right.
and was there any analysis to the that led to the trade? Um,
Mhm.
and when jobs do like monthly reviews, any business,
Mhm.
to see where they make money, where they need to cut their losses. They, as a business,
Mhm.
trading is a business, so it needs to be run as a business. So
Mhm.
I will look, this is what this is my quota for the day for this month. Actually, not for the day. I do it for monthly. So end of the month, I review. This is what you know I made for this month, and it
Mhm.
always be positive. But that's me looking back. I self critique myself, uh,
Mhm.
my trade setup, and I discovered and the lessons lost. That's why the part of the back test and even looking at your loss. Why? What happened? What was the cost of the loss? I can have an
Mhm.
answer for every loss I made. Well, the market was bullish. I was counter training. Or I got in too quick. Blah blah blah. I was feeling a little depressed this day. So even your
Yeah.
boss said you see how you know you could cut those the way you lost by even how you develop good habits. How I develop good habits I worked on is showing that I make sure I have these good habits when I do place a trade. And those bad habits I used to do, I didn't do everything at once. I start off with two. Then
Mhm.
that two was limited. I started with another two. You know, so that's how my progress and consistently grow and eliminated those bad habits and where I consistent when it was natural with those good habits. you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, man. So Abby, how do you overcome like greed in the market, and your need to win all the time. I have to win. When I wake up, there's have to be a win.
um, for me, that need to win, that's what I addressed with that probability mindset that I spoke about before, because that was a key factor for me. Because every day I woke up, of course, today gonna be a win day, because this is gonna go in my favor and I need to win because I now want to increase my profits, hit my targets. And I couple that with also understand that I don't have control.
Mhm.
So that was a tough one because I know that you can appreciate once we've done our analysis, 10 times out of 10, we're confident with what we're putting forward before we press that trigger. So going off at first, that hurt to know that I was wrong and that need to be right for me really played into that need to win.
Mhm.
So once I identified that probability mindset and said that, listen, there is a probability. Like you did your best analysis and you put it forward, you executed according to your plan, but there's a chance that it may not go in your favor. That was the key factor for me.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. So one more. I have one last question for you, Abby. For those who just starting their trading career, and how do I achieve trading mastery?
Loaded question again. um, well, first, it's so synonymous to how you master anything, right? Or achieve mastery in anything. And I would say number one is to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you sit behind a screen to execute a trade, it's you and you, right? So you have to believe in the investment that you placed in yourself, the knowledge that you've acquired, the analysis that you conducted, the skill that you've developed, and now the trade that you're going to execute. And along with everything that we've spoken about in terms of managing emotions and managing your own expectations, all that really plays into that belief concept. The next thing that I would say in terms of achieving mastery is don't quit.
Hmm.
Every day may not be the best day, but never stop learning, never stop looking for ways to perfect your craft. I remember years ago there was this little cartoon called Finding Nemo. And the one part of that cartoon that never left me was when he was swimming and he was like, keep swimming, just keep swimming. So, don't quit. Don't laugh, Koski. But I always remember that. The other thing in terms of that mastery, especially trade mastery, be disciplined and be committed. You have to commit and you have to enforce that discipline. And then I would say show up as your best self and realize that it's okay if you're not at your best today. The market will still be there tomorrow. You have another opportunity. It's okay if you do not trade a particular session, or if you, for some reason, analyze the market and you don't see a trade set up according to your trading plan. It's okay. But show up as your best self and put your best foot forward. And then, of course, we spoke about it at some length already, and that is in order to develop that mastery, I would say that you're going to work your plan, you're
Hmm.
going to assess your performance, and you're going to be honest with yourself. You're not in this game to stroke your own ego. You're in this game to continue to become a better trader, to be more consistent, to be more profitable. So you're going to be honest with yourself, even if it hurts your ego to say, well, I was out of line with this, or I took these losses because I had no control of my emotions. And I can see that because I have my journal that documents that. So it's factual. It's not just something that I'm just assuming. So you set your plan, you work your plan, assess your performance, be honest with yourself.
That's good. Good. That's good stuff. Good stuff. So we're coming with a close, guys. Thank you again, Abigail, for bringing such great knowledge. For all those who didn't know there were female traders, it's right here. We call her a silent assassin. You don't even know when she's replaced it. Hey guys, let me show you that. But
Yeah.
thanks again, Abby, man. And back to what you said about don't quitting. I know some people are out there, they want to quit, but just to let you guys know, keep going. Because your breakthrough is right on another corner. You're right there. So you're just one step away. The next step will be your fulfillment or your satisfactory, or that you come into purpose or your destiny or whatever vision you have for your life. But just don't quit. Keep going. And every day, as Abby said, let's become a better version of ourselves. You know, let's become 1% better each day, and you will see the growth. And it's just going to explode. Trust us, guys. We're walking testimony of this.
It's just so funny when you say the silent assassin, because you can always think about it. You're at a gun range, right? And let's say this is your first time shooting. You could look at that as a trader, the first time in the market. Your shots may be all over the place.
Yeah.
But as you continue to practice and work on it and work on it, then you have those sniper entries. Then you have those sniper trades. Then you could look back and say, I did that. You know what I mean? So it's you just have to keep working at it.
Yes. Well, guys, we love you guys. We believe in you guys. Just keep going.
Keep going. Don't give up.
That's right. Thanks again.
Let's represent some more female traders in the industry.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks, Kosky. It was a pleasure to speak with you today.
Definitely
And
pleasure for
look forward to more conversations.
Definitely. Thanks again, Abby, for joining us on KoskyFx Psychology Run episode. Love you guys. See you next time. God bless.
Okay, bye.